Hello everyone, welcome to Chelsea Sport Focus. But before we dive in, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a moment of breaking news. Let's get started.
The days leading into Chelsea's decisive Champions League trip to Naples have been dominated by one name, one rumour, and one clear message from the club's new head coach. Cole Palmer, Chelsea's creative heartbeat and one of the most influential young attackers in European football this season, has found himself at the centre of intense speculation, linking him with a move to Manchester United. Yet as the noise has grown louder outside Cobham, Liam Rosenior's stance has remained unwavering, calm and emphatic. For him, there is no story here, no uncertainty, no hidden tension. Palmer, in Rosenior's words, is untouchable, happy and fully committed to Chelsea. The timing of the rumours has not gone unnoticed. A managerial change often invites uncertainty, both real and imagined, and Palmer's recent injury absence has provided fertile ground for speculation. At 23, with his reputation soaring and his performances attracting admiration across Europe, it is almost inevitable that rival clubs will be linked with him. Manchester United, identified as his boyhood club, have become the focal point of those links, with claims suggesting that Palmer is unsettled at Stamford Bridge and considering a return to the northwest. From Rosenior's perspective, however, such talk belongs firmly in the category of fiction rather than fact. Speaking candidly, Rosenior described Palmer as not only central to his plans, but also deeply content with his situation. His language was deliberate and unambiguous. Palmer is happy. Palmer wants to be a Chelsea player. Palmer loves being at the club. These are not the words of a manager attempting damage control or offering rehearsed reassurances. They are the words of someone who has spent time with the player, spoken to him directly, and understands his mindset. Rosenior made it clear that he has had numerous conversations with Palmer, none of which have revolved around exits, dissatisfaction, or future doubts. Instead, their discussions have focused on football, improvement, and how Chelsea can continue to grow as a team. What makes Rosenior's comments particularly striking is his refusal to engage in the usual rituals that surround high-profile transfer speculation. He has not asked for assurances from the club's sporting directors. He has not hinted at contingency plans. He has not acknowledged the need for internal discussions about Palmer's future. To him, the idea that such conversations are even necessary is unrealistic. The rumours, he insists, have come from nowhere, and there is therefore no reason to dignify them with further attention. In an era where speculation often forces clubs and managers into reactive positions, Rosenior's approach has been one of quiet authority. This clarity has arrived at a crucial moment in Chelsea's season. On the pitch, the Blues face a defining test against Napoli in the final match of the Champions League phase. The margins are tight, the stakes are high, and the context is unforgiving. Chelsea sit 8th going into the final round of fixtures, knowing that a win could be enough to secure direct passage into the last 16, but also aware that goal difference and results elsewhere could still play a decisive role. Failure to win would likely condemn them to the uncertainty and physical toll of a playoff round, something Rosenior and his players are desperate to avoid. Palmer's return to the travelling squad for Naples has therefore carried significance beyond his individual availability. After missing recent matches through a thigh issue, his presence signals recovery, readiness, and belief. It also reinforces Rosenior's message that Palmer's focus remains squarely on Chelsea. The manager has spoken openly about his excitement at seeing Palmer back on the pitch, not only because of what he brings technically, but because of the confidence and cohesion he injects into the team. When Palmer plays, Chelsea look different. They play with greater freedom, sharper intent, and a clearer sense of purpose in the final third. The speculation linking Palmer with Manchester United has, in some ways, highlighted just how far he has come at Chelsea. Once seen as a talented but understated figure, he has grown into a talismanic presence, someone around whom games can revolve. His intelligence between the lines, his composure in decisive moments, and his ability to deliver under pressure have elevated him into the elite bracket. Such players inevitably attract attention, particularly when they are English, young, and performing on the Champions League stage. Rosenior understands this reality. he acknowledges that speculation is impossible to stop. But he also draws a clear distinction between inevitable interest and unfounded narratives. Within the Chelsea dressing room, Palmer's situation appears settled. His relationships with teammates remain strong, his commitment in training has not wavered, and his focus has been on recovery and readiness. Rosenior has been keen to emphasise that his own role is not to manage rumours, but to help Palmer continue developing. Their conversations, he explains, revolve around how Palmer can improve, how the team can be better structured around his strengths, and how Chelsea can maximise their collective potential. This player-centred, development-driven approach reflects Rosenior's broader philosophy, and perhaps explains why he has been so dismissive of talk suggesting unrest. As Chelsea prepare for Napoli, the wider European picture adds another layer of intrigue. Barcelona and Sporting sit just a goal behind Chelsea on goal difference, while Manchester City trail by a single goal. Barcelona host Copenhagen, Sporting travel to face Athletic Club, and City welcome Galatasaray to the Etihad. The permutations are complex, the margins slim. A single goal scored or conceded elsewhere could shift the entire landscape. Rosenior is acutely aware of this, yet he has insisted that it does not alter his preparation. His focus, he says, has always been on expecting a very difficult game and preparing accordingly. Napoli, under Antonio Conte, represent exactly that kind of challenge. Rosenior has spoken with visible respect for Conte, both as a former player and as a coach. He described him as a magnificent footballer whose passion has carried seamlessly into his managerial career. That passion, Rosenior believes, is transmitted directly to Conte's teams, shaping their intensity, organisation and competitive edge. Napoli's recent results may not have fully reflected their performances, but Rosenior is under no illusions about the task awaiting his side in the Maradona Stadium. The atmosphere, the opposition and the occasion combine to create one of the most demanding tests in European football. In this environment, having clarity off the pitch becomes invaluable. The last thing Chelsea need is uncertainty surrounding their most influential player. Rosenior's firm handling of the Palmer rumours has therefore served a dual purpose. It has reassured supporters and neutral observers, but it has also sent a message internally. The focus is football. The focus is Napoli. The focus is qualification. Everything else is noise. For Palmer himself, the situation is an illustration of modern football's realities. Success brings attention, and attention brings speculation. Yet his actions have spoken louder than any rumour. He trained, he travelled, and he prepared for one of the biggest nights of Chelsea's season. Whether he starts or plays a role from the bench, his involvement alone reshapes the contest. Napoli must plan for him, Chelsea can believe in him, and Rosenior can rely on him. As Wednesday night approaches, the narrative surrounding Chelsea feels delicately balanced between pressure and possibility. A win in Naples could mark a turning point, not only in their Champions League campaign, but also in the early stages of Rosenior's tenure. It would validate his calm authority, his trust in his players, and his refusal to be drawn into distractions. At the centre of that narrative stands Cole Palmer, not as a player on the verge of departure, but as one fully embedded in Chelsea's present, and if Rosenior's words are to be believed, their future as well. In the end, football has a way of cutting through speculation. 90 minutes on a pitch in Naples will not decide Palmer's long-term future, but they may reaffirm what Rosenior has already stated with conviction. Palmer is happy. Palmer is committed. Palmer is untouchable. And for Chelsea, on the eve of a defining European night, that certainty may be just as valuable as any tactical plan or statistical permutation.